Hello, and welcome to the More Than Muscle podcast, presented to you by your coach and overall favorite person, me, trainer Greg McBride. I'm super excited that you are tuned in today, and you can stay tuned in by subscribing to this podcast. In the More Than Muscle podcast, we will cover the skills, habits, and practices needed to be successful. Going beyond just the physical, we will talk about how to be the best version of yourself, all while looking through the lens of health and fitness. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Hello, welcome back. This is episode 20 of the More Than Muscle podcast, and today we're going to talk about, drum roll, delayed gratification. So, delayed gratification is not uncommon to anyone who has goals of being very successful. You understand that nothing comes easy. That is the way I was brought up and raised, the way my coaches, parents, leaders, adults that I've known, they've told me, you work hard and that's the only way you're going to get the chance to see the results is through hard work. If it's easy, then more than likely it's not going to be sustainable or long-lasting success or long-lasting glory or the ability to build something worth remembering. Anything worth having is worth sacrificing for. Those are kind of all the themes that come to mind when I think about how to be successful and what I've been taught. Now, I'm assuming most people that are listening to me have heard the study with the kids that they had in a lab, and they were given them marshmallow. They said, hey, if you don't eat this marshmallow, now I'll come back in however long it was, 10, 15 minutes, and then you'll get to have two. You can eat this one right now if you want, but if you wait, when I come back, you'll be able to have two. And cool thing about that study is they followed up with those kids later to see what happened to the kids. And they found out that the ones who didn't eat it right away, who waited to have that second one, who were able to wait for that delayed gratification, they were more often than not more successful in life than those who couldn't wait and wanted that instant gratification. They wanted it now. That mindset and that thought process is what I want to dive into a little bit deeper. So what are some of the ways that we can do that and be successful? Yes, there is an amount of discipline, amount of sacrifice that comes along with that, but it doesn't have to be that way. A lot of successful athletes and even business people, they have this passion and they tie it up in their purpose to where they have delayed gratification. And most certainly, because they're grinding, working hard, you hear about all the businesses that started in their garage, or people how they struggled, went from being homeless to being this multi-millionaire, running a very successful company. So all those things can happen, but there's more to it than just work your butt off and then wait for the results sometime in the future. A lot of these very successful people have found a way to motivate themselves inside of those moments. So it's the idea of falling in love with the process. You're not necessarily focused on that end goal. Yes, you have an end goal. Yes, you have something that you're driving towards, but if you can stay engaged throughout the process, that is how you can stay motivated, for a lack of a better word. But motivation is something I always say is conditional. There's a big kind of wave going on where people say motivation is BS. And I agree with that to an extent, minus the fact that I know that there's some hormonal things that happen along with motivation that keep you, engaged and allow you to be more effective and more kind of tenacious towards achieving your goals. But that's that part that we're trying to get to right now, where you're engaged throughout the process. The idea of falling in love with the process, that's going to come back around. And it's that motivation, loving the process of the loop that feeds each other back and forth. So if you're engaged and fall in love with the process and rewarding yourself along the way, so it's not necessarily delayed gratification. It's just finding gratification in the process. embracing the suck. All these terms, all these little cliche things that are thrown around, they're based in science, and it's really cool if you get a chance to dive into it and understand that if you fall in love with the process, if you find the ways to reward yourself along that process and fall in love with the things that you're doing, then at that moment, the stuff that's not always easy, the things that people can easily forget to do, more often than not, it's not difficult. It's just hard to be consistent with it. I wish I could remember the NBA player. There's so many stories right now about Kobe Bryant, and especially since his passing, on the kind of person he was, his character, his perseverance, his work ethic. And there was a rookie, he told a story when he first got to the Lakers and how he had a goal. You know, he wanted to be the best. Everybody wants to be the best, especially these high-level athletes. And he gets down, and his goal was just to be the first person down for like their team breakfast or whatever. And he gets down there, and he wasn't the first. Got up early, you know, hours before he's supposed to get down there, and he's still not the first person there. Kobe Bryant's already down there. But not only is Kobe already down there for breakfast, but he's sweating because he's already worked out, and now he's coming in before everyone else to have breakfast. So that right there is kind of the idea of the process. Now, what they did, what people like them do, that you can implement for yourself that's going to help you a lot, is that's winning for them. It's not about going on and winning the championships. Yes, that's the end goal, but winning started that day. For Kobe, he was the first person that was up. He knows that he's winning because he's beating everyone else, and he found joy, satisfaction. He got that his instant gratification in that moment, just being that first one there, knowing that he's working when no one else is working. And that's one of the things that I fell in love with that got me into weightlifting, training and training hard when I was playing sports. Same idea. I wanted to be the first one in the gym. I wanted to be the last one in the gym. I wanted to know that my teammates, whether I was the best athlete or not, I know I was going to outwork them. I made sure I was the one pushing hardest in the gym, pushing hardest to practice, getting there before everyone, putting in extra practice outside of scheduled practices. Falling in love with that, knowing that satisfaction that you can receive from doing above and beyond, that's falling in love with the process. That's what's going to allow you to be most successful. And yes, it sucks, but if you understand and you can fall in love with it's kind of a sadistic way of thinking, but fall in love with the struggle and the pain, then you will know that success, that delayed gratification, it's going to come because you're doing the thing. You're not just trying to find the easy way, the most pleasurable moments before you get to your big goal, because that normally causes you to pull back, relax, and not fully invest. If you want to take breaks and go on vacations all the time, that's your prerogative. But that delayed gratification allows you to have that compounding effect, that results that you get from being consistent over time. It's all about being consistent over time. That's going to reach you to the end where you have that sense of, I say, pride and glory. I'm all about it. I can't pretend that it's not how I think and how I feel, because I want to make a difference. It's not about my name being in neon lights or anything like that. But yes, I take pride in what I do, and that right now is being able to be successful in my business, which is helping people. So if I'm not helping people, then if I'm not taking my time, diving deep, making connections, giving everything that I have, yes, sometimes it can be difficult. Yeah, I might feel like there's not enough hours in the day. But if I continue to do that, I fall in love with that. There's nothing better than hearing someone say, man, that was great. Thank you for what you did for me. But beyond that, when they go on and do the same for someone else, just think about how many lives you can affect. That's what I'm about. I want to have the big change. I don't necessarily care for myself. I know that, yeah, I'm going to get beat up. Yeah, I'm going to have some sleepless nights. May not have all the things that I feel I, not saying necessarily need, because I'm going to make sure I provide for myself, my needs, and my family's needs, but not all the things that I want. And I'm okay with that, knowing that there's something greater down the road. That's the idea of building like a legacy. I'll struggle for myself. I'll sacrifice and not have this or that to know that generations down the line, the McBride name, my grandkids, my great grandkids will look back and say, hey, remember great great granddad, Gregory McBride Jr. Remember all those things that he did, how he set our family up. He's like the patriarch, he's the guy. I would love that. Not only my family, but in other people around the world saying, especially when it comes to fitness, that they were struggling. They weren't able to battle, some eating disorder or this weight gain that was about to, cause them extreme harm. I want to be able to say, hey, I gave them me, I gave them my time, my empathy, and I cared, and I really gave them what I had, all of my information, my knowledge, my experience to help people change their lives. And just think you could change that person's life, have them live their life to the fullest, whether it be health, working in finance or in someone's career, or just be a comedian, making people laugh, and just, those feelings to make people better human beings, and how that transfers from them to their friends, their family, and they go on doing the same thing. That outspread of betterment, that's what it's about. So yes, delayed gratification is a real thing. Motivation is temporary. It's conditional. I'm not going to say it's BS, because there is some science based upon that. It is important. You want to find as much motivation as possible. But if you fall in love with the process, then delayed gratification is just what happens. You fall in love with the small things. You fall in love with waking up at 4 a.m. You fall in love with the calls and making the connections, meeting new people. Fall in love with knowing that, hey, I have to stay away from this. Fall in love with not having the TV on to fall asleep, the small things, preparing your meals. Fall in love with every single workout, working to perfect your form, working to focus on every single rep, every step, everything you do throughout the day. Find the small wins. Yep, meal's ready. I'm good. There's a win. Got up on time, didn't hit snooze. There's a win. Fall in love with that and keep stacking those dominoes and building and building. I'm not stacking dominoes, they might fall down, but stack those bricks, build those walls, build that foundation, build the life that you want, and be your best. That's all what it comes down to. So that delayed gratification is just you falling in love with the process, guys. Fall in love with it every day. Fall in love with it every moment. And before you know, you'll be right where you want to be. That's what I have for you guys today. Until next time. This has been another episode of the More Than Muscle podcast. Thank you again for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I also hope that you found something that you can take away and apply immediately to your life. I am your host, Trainer Greg McBride, and until next time, train with purpose and be more than muscle.